Hello! Today I'd like to talk about one of the concepts that we directors like to insist that singers master, but we don't often take the time to take it apart, talk about the technique behind it, and give singers ways to practice it. That, of course, is the idea of stagger breathing. Stagger breathing. Stagger breathing. No, not like that. We don't want to know what you're doing. That's the whole point. Often referred to as sneak breathing, stealth breathing, not breathing, don't ever take a breath right here or I will give you the stink eye. Stagger breathing can be a wonderful way to give the listener a long, beautiful phrase that is a wash of sound without the possible distraction of breaking up the phrase with a breath, or even worse, a huge group gasp for air. Working under the premise that we don't want the listener to know we're breathing, the first thing we need to do is learn to take a quiet breath. And by quiet, I mean both inaudible and devoid of too much movement. So, let's take this moment to remember that we have this rather long pipe as part of our vocal apparatus that has a lot of muscle and tissue and all sorts of things that can get in the way of our airflow. But to simplify this, we want to keep our throat as open as possible when we breathe in, allow the vocal folds to separate completely during the breath so we don't get this sound. Quick aside, if after practicing this, you can never take a fully silent breath after really working on it, you might consider a consultation with a specialist to make sure there isn't an underlying condition or something going on that needs to be addressed. Now let's start by taking a few silent breaths at different depths and different tempos. If you have a long time to take a breath, there are plenty of options. When that breath needs to be shorter, however, things get a little bit more challenging. Try breathing in on an O or an ah right now to maintain the feeling of an open throat. Let's try that a few times. If it's not quite so silent, try it a few more times. Remember that as we breathe, our vocal folds part so that air can come in and out silently. Now, after you feel good about that breath, let's add a note. The idea here is that we don't want to wait until we're completely out of air, because then our tone tends to collapse or go out of tune. Let's sing right now on an oo. Every time I snap my fingers, I'd like you to practice taking an inaudible breath and come back in. At first, go ahead and take your time. But as we go on, try to take breaths that are maybe a little bit faster. We want to make sure that our entry and exit on the note is gentle, so we're not slamming in and out of the sound. Let's try it. Ooh. Here we go. Ooh. 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 You keep going. Now let's try it on some different vowels and even some different pitches. So let's go to an E up here. He. I would recommend as little movement as possible, not so you feel frozen, but just so we aren't having to move and reshape things. If we're doing E, E, we're gonna be in trouble. It didn't even sound in tune when I did that. Here we go on E. E, E. Make sure that our entry isn't slamming in. It's not E, E, but it has E, E. Try a few of those. Nice. Now let's try it on an ah. We'll sing a little bit lower. Ah. Here we go. Ah. Ah. Keep going. Nice job. Once you've practiced this, it's time to move on to dropping full words. Let's say we're singing My Bonnie Lies Over the Ocean. And we want to sing My Bonnie lies over the ocean, my Bonnie lies over the sea. But the director wants all of that to be in one line so that the audience doesn't hear any holes in the sound. Maybe we can't quite do the entire line with style and grace. So let's decide first which words we're going to drop. Let's start this by dropping one entire word. We're actually going to start by staying on one pitch to eliminate some variables. We want to drop a whole word, or in some cases a syllable, and make sure not to breathe in obvious spots, like after the word ocean. We need all the voices on that word to connect the phrase. So let's start easy. Let's get rid of the word over in both phrases. We're gonna sing on this note. Do not sing the word over. My bonny lies the ocean, my bonny lies the sea, my bonny lies ocean. Now once that feels good, we want to layer something on top of it. Ideally your mouth keeps moving, so it's very sneaky. No one in the audience knows who's not singing that word. Let's try that. Mouth moves on the inhale. My bonny lies the ocean, my bonny lies the sea, my bonny lies the ocean, so bring back my bonny to me. So maybe it's a little bit of a personal preference for me to keep the mouth moving, but think about it. If you're on the stage and a camera is scanning across the performance and it's right on you when you do, my bonny lies the ocean, you might not want that saved forever and ever on the interwebs. Okay, adding variables back in. Let's go back to singing the melody on this. We're still not singing the word over. Let's try it. My bonny lies the ocean, my bonny lies the sea, my bonny lies the ocean, so bring back my bonny to me. Now not everyone can breathe on that word, so let's try some other options. What if we got rid of the second syllable of the word ocean? My bonny lies over the o. Notice that I do not ever want to take the unnecessary risk of putting a sh sound where it doesn't belong. So if I sang, my bonny lies over the ocean, we'll be in trouble. So you'll want to practice this a few times. Let's try it. Here we go. My bonny lies over the my bonny lies over the sea, my bonny lies over the so bring back my bonny to me. Now remember, it's always better to breathe sooner than you think you need to. Not only will that preserve your vocal production, but it will help compensate for the fact that on performance day, when you have some additional adrenaline running through your system, you might find yourself suddenly with less breath than you thought you had. And it's vitally important that once you figure out where you're going to breathe, you remain consistent with that plan. That way those around you can plan as well, and you don't suddenly get to a performance and all take a sneak breath at the exact same time. Make a plan, write it down, practice it. Now hopefully that gives you some good information about how to practice your stagger breathing. Thanks for watching, make sure to like and subscribe, and let me know if you have any questions or if there are any topics you'd like to see me cover in the future. See you next time!